Los Rancheros has been doing it right for 20 years. Los Rancheros brings a top-shelf dining experience to you with the opening of their beautiful new building. Watch all college and pro games on Los Rancheros' 14 large-screen TVs with great drink specials daily from 2 to 5 and during all the games. Los Rancheros, the place for live sports and great food on 23rd Street between Jenks and Harrison.
Introducing Southern Breeze Primary Care. With 45 years of experience, owners Holly Gay and Lisa King bring warm, friendly care, Southern charm, and a family vibe. They are the pros in youth sports, physicals, general health care, BioT hormone replacement therapy, certified DOT exams, and Coast Guard physicals. Southern Breeze, 107 West 19th Street, Suite B, 850-248-8002. Walk-ins are welcome and insurance is accepted but not required. Southern Breeze offers breezy solutions for your health care needs.
Experience a higher level of service. David Adamson Designer Jewelry has been providing you the very best of fine jewelry and repair in Lynn Haven for over 32 years. David has added Amber Anderson and Russ Klinger, names you've known and trusted in PCB for years with your fine jewelry and watch needs. Find that one-of-a-kind engagement ring, that special anniversary gift, or something colorful just for you. Amber and Russ will find it or build it for you, serving Bay County and beyond in Lynn Haven at the corner of Ohio Avenue and 9th. David Adamson Designer Jewelry.
Now, for a limited time, Krispy Kreme Donuts is offering the Krispy Kreme Pac-Man Collection. Featuring 3 new donuts and a custom Pac-Man game dozen box. Enjoy the Pac-Man Party Donuts, the Team Ghost Donut, and the Strawberry Power Berry Donut. Only at Krispy Kreme Donuts in front of HCA Hospital, 23rd Street, Panama City. And on the Ross Clark Circle in Dothan. Krispy Kreme Donuts since 1937. Krispy Kreme Donuts, where you get them hot.
WGSX Lynn Haven, WVLQ Port St. Joe. Powered by Panama City Toyota. ESPN Northwest Florida. Broadcasting from the CBC Construction Studios. Get ready.
Let's play the game.
Sports Talk Radio will never be the same.
I just don't think that anybody's going to succeed in that system.
It's a bad organization.
It's just a bad organization.
The Afternoon Underdogs.
Onion pickles, onions pickles.
Live and local.
Look, it's impressive.
On ESPN.
Northwest Florida.
How are we doing this afternoon? Panama City and beyond Port St. Joe, all those areas around. If you are listening, we appreciate you. There's no way that you guys are as excited as I am this afternoon. I just continue to play the Tyrese Halliburton buzzer beater over and over and over again in my brain, and it just brings me joy this afternoon.
Thing of beauty, wasn't it?
I mean,
that thing bounced up like 20 feet off of the back of the rim and then just went straight through, didn't touch the rim again. It was like, wow, you can't do that shot again. That was pretty cool.
Well, when you're watching it live and the ball hits the back of the rim, you can't even see the ball anymore because it bounces above the shot clock. So you had to have the wide view to be able to see that. But live, it didn't have that. And you're just like, it seemed like the ball bounced straight up, so it might have a shot. You have time to think all of these thoughts, and you're just sitting there waiting, and then, boom, it goes in. And as a Knicks fan, you're absolutely devastated. As a Pacers fan, it's like, oh my gosh, I can't believe that this is happening. Then boom, you go to replay, and it looks like we've got a little bit more basketball to play. But we'll talk more about that. You guys are riding with the Afternoon Underdogs. I'm David Hayes along with James Fife. You guys can give us a call or text today on the Red 7T's phone line. That is the brand that brands you. Give us a call at 850-215-6290. We're streaming live on Facebook, on YouTube, and on Twitch. Like and share the Facebook feed and subscribe to our YouTube channel. You can also download the app and register. Go to your Google Play Store or your Apple Store. Type in 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida. We're live and local from the CBC Construction Studios. Go to cbcconstruction.com or call them at 850-747-3815. All right, we got a lot to dive into. Sydney Fields is going to join us to talk about the Women's College World Series. We are up to the Super Regionals, and now we've got Alan Watson joining us this afternoon. So that'll be next, coming up around 4:15 actually for Sydney Fields, 4:15, 4:17. Whenever we can get to her, we're going to have Sydney Fields talking Women's College World Series. Then we'll have Alan Watson joining us at the top of hour number 2. We'll be talking all things golf, Scotty Scheffler, PGA Championship recap, and, of course, the product that we're loving over there at Golf Plus. Then at 5:20, we'll have Sam Peebles on the line with us talking all things Atlanta Braves and Major League Baseball. Of course, we'll be leaving this afternoon at 5:43 to get you guys to the first pitch for the Atlanta Braves taking on the Nationals. It will be A.J. Smith-Shawver going for the Braves, going up against Trevor Williams for the Washington Nationals, as they were not able to play last night due to the postponement. Lynn Haven Rob, sorry I wasn't able to get to your text yesterday, but he did text in. He was like, you guys on the app, it's playing Paul Feinbaum. That's because the Atlanta Braves were postponed. So sorry about that, but did check the weather this afternoon. Looks like we'll be playing baseball in Washington, D.C. this afternoon for the Braves and the Nationals. Atlanta Braves baseball on ESPN Northwest Florida is sponsored locally by Bill Bird Kia, PCB Hobby, Panama City Toyota, Hewitt Tire and Auto, and by Hometown Towing. Lots of good stuff to dive into. And, of course, as always, taking your calls and text, 850-215-6290. That is the Red 7T's phone line. And in honor of the Tyrese Halliburton situation yesterday, buzzer beater, the call-in question of the day, text-in question of the day. What buzzer beater do you think of when that subject comes up? We'll revisit that before we get out of this segment, Lord willing. I've got 10 buzzer beaters that are right up there with the Tyrese Halliburton buzzer beater from yesterday. And I had a lot of great conversational text this morning with Boston Tim. And if we find some time, we'll visit those questions. He had some great questions. Sad news, as I'm all excited here for the Indiana Pacers. The sad news of the day is North Bay Haven. They were in the state title game last night in the 2A state championship here in Florida, and they've ended up falling to Calvary Christian 6-4. Hard-fought game last night for the North Bay Haven Buccaneers. You had 2 home runs from Kaylee Goodpaster, which, by the way, ladies and gentlemen, she still has a whole nother year of high school softball to play, but they had their best season. Yes, they fell in the title game, but they had their best season over there at 25-4 this year, and that was their only loss this year to a team from the state of Florida. So congratulations to Butch Bernard and all of the ladies over there at North Bay Haven, making Bay County history by being the first team to make it to the 2A state championship. Back to the Pacers, man. They came back last night down 14 with 2 minutes and 45 seconds left. Now, I'm watching this game over at my buddy Dalton Cope's house. He's a big Indiana Pacers fan as well, but he's got a young daughter. So we're putting Brooklyn to bed. Now, when you're at the house, you have to read her a story. She gathers everyone up and she gives everyone a book, and they have to read the story. She actually got up before we started reading the stories and said, "Dad, you forgot to turn the TV off." But look, so she goes in there with her dad, turns the TV off, but luckily the surround sound was still playing. Maybe not so luckily, because all we're hearing is cheers. Well, the game's at Madison Square Garden, so what does that mean? Well, the Knicks, are taking off here at this point. We get through bedtime, she goes to bed, get back in there, Pacers down 15. Now, keep in mind, all the way up to this point, the Pacers are doing their job, right? They're playing a very tough New York Knicks team, but they're staying close with them. What have we seen from the Pacers throughout this tournament? They will fight you tooth and nail till the final buzzer. They've only lost 2 games in this entire tournament, in this entire playoff leading up to this. So the Pacers are playing well, and I'm like, as a Pacers fan, hey, you're not expected to win game 1. You're playing in Madison Square Garden. You're playing the Knicks. You're not really expected to win game 1 right here. So as long as you're playing them tough, I like the odds. And as long as we're within 10 points going into the latter half of the game, the latter minutes of the game, then I feel very confident as a Pacers fan about how this series is going to go. So they're down 15. go, get back in front of the TV, turn the game on, and it's like, oh man, this is not looking good anymore. Maybe it bodes well for the rest of the series, but the Knicks have finally kind of found what they needed to do defensively and offensively, and it looks like they're going to be fine. Then Aaron Nesmith starts getting hot. He hits that first three. That's his 5th three of the game. Then the next couple of threes he hits, and the Pacers sitting there down by 6, and some late free throw misses from Karl Anthony Towns. He split. And then OG Anunoby also missing one of his free throws, really opened up the door wide open. And also, as a Pacers fan, you're sitting there, give the ball to the guy who's got the hot hand, and Nesmith right now. I mean, even if he loses the game, he got us back into this game, and they did that because you're worried that maybe Tyrese Halliburton tries to steal the show right here, or maybe they go Miles Turner, maybe they try to decoy, but Nesmith did it over and over again last night. 8 of 9 from the arc, and just absolutely amazing. Then Tyrese Halliburton after the Pacers, let's see. No, the Jalen Brunson, that was in overtime. So you've got Tyrese Halliburton after the timeout, 7 seconds left. Pacers down 2. All they need is a bucket to tie it up, and he starts dribbling right towards the basket. Looks like he's going to get a wide open look, but that would leave time on the clock for the Knicks. And he just does something that I've never seen outside of video games. I mean, I've seen it, but you don't see it a whole lot. He just dribbles, runs right back to the three-point line and lets it go. And then that bounce, and it goes so high, right above the shot clock there, and then it falls in, and you're like, all right, we won. How in the world? And, Tyrese Halliburton makes his Reggie signal and then points right over to them, and that was really cool. But the review comes. 2-pointer. Then the Knicks in overtime. Looks like maybe because Tyrese Halliburton had celebrated so early, the Knicks are like, all right, hey, you're giving us momentum. The chip is now on our shoulder to an extent. They come out hot in overtime, 4 points, but actually may have had a 6-point lead. But what do the Pacers do? They lock in and they chip away at that lead. And eventually, couple of turnovers, and the big one being the one going out on Jalen Brunson's fingertips, and Nesmith plays hero. And wow, just what a game 1 performance by the Pacers. Got a lot of stats to go along with that. The Knicks leading that game by 14 with 2 minutes and 45 seconds left. According to the AP's Josh DeBow, the winning team in that scenario was 994 entering last night. Make that 994 and 1. There's also teams trailing by 7 or more in the last 50 seconds of the fourth quarter or overtime are 4 and 1,702. 4 wins, 1,702 losses. The Pacers have 3 of those, and all 3 of those wins are this year. Tyrese Halliburton ended up with 31 points, 11 assists. Jalen Brunson was nuts last night, 42 points to go along with actually, I don't know the rest of his stat line, but 42 points for him. Karl Anthony Towns, I believe, had 38, but Aaron Nesmith, 8 of 9 from 3. He had 30 points. He had 3 of those 3 in the final 51 seconds. Also, 2 players have had 20-plus points and 5-plus threes in the fourth quarter of a playoff game or on the road. Both of those come for the Pacers at Madison Square Garden. Reggie Miller did that on June 1st in 1994. And then last night, of course, with Aaron Nesmith. And Tyrese Halliburton, 455 points, 216 assists, and 127 rebounds in 25 career playoff games. The only other players in the last 60 years to reach those marks in their first 25 career postseason games, I forgot to write the names. It's Chris Paul, though, and Magic Johnson. Chris Paul and Magic Johnson. So pretty good company.
Good company.
Yeah, good company to be with there. Overrate that. Pacers take a 1-0 lead in the Eastern Conference Finals, and that series is not done. If you want to watch some fun basketball, it is very high scoring basketball, but the bodies were hitting the floor last night. It was intense. Watch that Eastern Conference Finals between the Knicks and the Pacers, and Game 2 will be from Madison Square Garden coming up this Friday. Also in the world of playoffs, the Dallas Stars have taken a 1-0 lead over the Edmonton Oilers. They had a 6-3 win last night, and if I'm not mistaken, they were down 3-1 in that game, and they had 5 goals in the third period. James, what'd you see from the Stars and the Oilers last night?
Stars and Oilers, great game last night. I mean, the Oilers came out strong, got the opening goal of the game to get them rolling. Dallas responds a couple minutes later. Then after that, we get a bunch of feel-out hockey because we're just seeing two teams that haven't seen each other in a little bit, and it's the playoffs. Nobody wants to make a big mistake yet. So you just see a whole bunch of what I call like pong hockey, where you're just going back and forth, just kind of feeling each other out, waiting for the other guy to make a mistake. Well, that got kind of boring, I guess, during the first intermission because Edmonton just comes out and starts playing tough. They just start hitting. And that's something you don't really see out of Edmonton is trying to bring a body. And they were trying to bring a body to Dallas, which is a team more built for the body than Edmonton. But, they're not a big hulking, just beat you down team either. So little surprised by that. And Edmonton comes out, gets 2 goals in the second period. And they just look good. Ottinger, I was a little bit worried about him. That first one he gave up was a little bit of a softie. Second and thirds weren't his fault, but they keep on going high glove. And Ottinger is, I don't know why, but he is just whiffing on the high glove. That should be one of your highest save positions because that's literally where you can just literally catch it, grab it, hold it, stop the play, kill the rebound. So I saw that earlier, too, in the first series with Colorado, where Colorado was constantly peppering that side. So there might be something there to watch. But Ottinger, in that third period, stood tall, stood strong. Rest of Dallas decided to finally respond and play. And in that last 10 minutes of that game, Dallas rolls in 5 goals. I mean, just crazy numbers. Crazy numbers. Totally great game.
Stuart Skinner was skinned last night is what you're saying.
Stuart Skinner, man, in that third.
Did he play for the rest of the third period?
Yeah, he did.
Wow.
It's
was that a mistake on coach's behalf, do you think, leaving him in there for the onslaught?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I mean, it was a situation where it was already out of hand by that point. There's no sense in going ahead and almost even bringing the whole team's morale down after having a great first 2 periods, pulling your goalie after he gives up 2 little bit weaker ones, which we can argue if it was totally him or if the defense was just letting guys get in, because the defense was letting guys get in. Dallas was constantly in on that net, and Edmonton was not clearing them out of the way. So I kind of look at that as bad, but I think it would have been worse for team morale, and I don't think they wanted to stop the game. I think Edmonton wanted to keep a higher pace going when Dallas started to slow it down there when they got the lead.
Yeah.
So when you do take that change in goaltending, it's like basically taking a free timeout. And I don't think the Edmonton Oilers wanted to have that slowdown of play. I think they wanted to get back out there and recharge, but didn't work. And by the time there's 3 minutes left where you're thinking about just pulling the goalie anyways, you do, and you give up 2 more, and, well, here we are at the end of the story.
Well, we got to get to a break, James. So real quick, tonight in the NBA, it's the Timberwolves and the Thunder game 2. Thunder have a 1-0 lead there. And then the Panthers and the Canes, and the Panthers have a 1-0 lead. In that series, who wins tonight? Timberwolves at the Thunder. Well, all right, we'll save this for 4:40 then.
Little break.
All right, we'll go to a break. We're going to have Sydney Fields coming up next. We're going to be talking about the Women's College World Series. Hear her picks next.
ESPN Northwest Florida. It's the Coach James Hale Show.
Losing to Michigan, you're on the hot seat.
Did you see his face after that loss? I thought he was going to drop dead of a heart attack.
Yeah,
I thought his face was
die.
red.
There was some demon that took over his body and made the words come out. Demons come out. Your quarterback said that.
On national TV.
On national TV.
Weekday morning 7 to 9. ESPN Northwest Florida.
Good afternoon. This is Joanna with your weather forecast from ESPN Northwest Florida on this Thursday. Partly sunny the remainder of the day with a wind at 11 miles per hour coming out of the south-southwest and 84. Tonight, look for a gentle breeze and clear skies with a temperature near 74. Tomorrow, a high around 85 and sunshine with a wind 5 to 10 miles per hour. Saturday, hot with a high of 86 and sunshine. This weather forecast is brought to you by Ellis Agency Insurance. Thank you for keeping that dial at ESPN Northwest Florida. Rely on it.
Golf is a game that should be fun, but to have the most fun, you need to play your best. That's where the experts at Golf Plus come in. Their friendly staff will guide you through the buying process, answer all your questions, and can help with any repairs you need along the way. Golf Plus is your custom fitting, club repair, and golf retail shop. Golf Plus staff is non-commissioned and will work with you to find the best product for your game, just like they've been doing since 1988. Golf Plus in Dothan and Panama City Beach. Fitting, repair, retail. That's Golf Plus.
With over 65 years of combined experience, Instant Replay Sports Cards is happy to help you take your collection to the next level. They carry all the new hobby boxes, signed memorabilia, and supplies. New and vintage cards in Pokemon. They sell and trade cards and are always looking to buy. They're an authorized source for Topps, Panini, Upper Deck, and Leaf cards. Instant Replay Sports Cards is open 7 days a week at 752 West 23rd Street, down from Academy Sports. It can always be reached at InstantReplaySportsCards.com.
Broadcasting from the CBC Construction Studios. ESPN Northwest Florida.
The Afternoon Underdogs.
Call in with your questions, hot takes, and rants at 850-215-6290.
I'm sure that most of you have used a dial telephone before.
The Sports Talk Monster.
ESPN Northwest Florida.
You're back in the doghouse, built up by CBC Construction. Visit them at cbcconstruction.com or call them at 850-747-3815. You guys are listening to the Afternoon Underdogs. This is ESPN Northwest Florida. I'm David Hayes along with James Fife, and we're going to get over to the Red 7T's phone line where we have Sydney Fields. She is an author for Sport and Story where she covers the Hogs Plus. Sydney, what's going on today?
Hello. How are you guys?
Oh, we're doing wonderful, beautiful weather. Actually, a little bit cooler over this way this afternoon. You getting ready for some softball this evening?
I am. We've got an end of the season tournament. Hopefully we'll play 2 tonight.
All right. What's the over-under on runs scored in both games tonight for your squad?
Ooh, for my squad, I'm going to go like 15 runs scored.
All right. I'm taking the over by 1 million. Sydney, we enjoyed the regional tournaments in softball. First things first, before I have you re-rank the teams real quickly, Liberty, that historic upset over number 1 Texas A&M. Just tell us your thoughts on that before we ask you how far you think they'll go.
That was absolutely insane. We were it was a crazy day for everyone, just watching regionals all day. And I was in the media room up in Fayetteville at Arkansas, and we were trapped in a hailstorm. So everyone in there was watching the Liberty Texas A&M games, both of them. The Arkansas Razorback team was in the team room watching the games. All eyes were on that game, it seemed like. And it was the first time that the number 1 seed has ever been knocked out of their own regional. But also, I mean, it just shows the parity in college softball is getting bigger and bigger, and it's a really cool thing to see.
Was that more of a negative on Texas A&M or just Liberty's that good?
I think it was more of a negative on Texas A&M. Liberty's great. They've kind of been one of those teams that you don't want in your regional over the past 3-4 years. They're led by a former Olympian coach in Dot Richardson, and they have an amazing pitcher who's really been grinding it out in Elena Escobar. But they're hot right now, and any team that's hot, that's all that matters in May and June.
Yeah, there you go. Which super regional matchup to you is the most intriguing and why?
I would say Florida State and Texas Tech is going to be a really interesting one, I think. Florida State, really good team, great hitters, great pitching. And then Texas Tech, they're kind of riding Nigeri Kennedy, and I'm anxious to see if they can kind of ride her all weekend or who else steps up on their team.
I'm looking forward to that one, as well as a whole bunch of people here in Panama City, Florida. Who's the most impactful player overall in this year's Super Regionals?
I'd probably say Jordy Ball of Nebraska. She hit, I think it was 3 or 4 home runs in the regional at LSU.
And she was like 5 for 5, right?
Yeah, something like that. But she was doing that while also pitching. She is their team, and I think she's going to be huge for them. That is also going to be a really, really good matchup in Nebraska and Tennessee with 2 of the best pitchers in college softball.
There you go. And then before we dive into each super regional, which underdog team has the best chance to make a Cinderella-type run to the Women's College World Series?
Oof, that's a tough one. Honestly, the way Liberty played, they might be that underdog team to make it to the Women's College World Series, especially with their matchup at Oregon.
All right. Give me Liberty or give me death, says Patrick Henry.
Right.
16, Oregon taking on Liberty. We'll start with that one. Following that historic upset over the number 1 Aggies, can they continue their Cinderella run against Oregon?
I mean, like I said earlier, it matters who's hot, and if they continue to be hot, they can beat anybody. They almost took 2 from Texas A&M on Sunday. They almost won that first game, and then they did end up winning that second game. So their bats are really good right now. Their pitching is good right now. And Oregon just didn't impress me a whole lot. They almost lost their regional to Stanford. So I think Liberty might be the one to get out of there.
For Oregon and Kai Lushar, she's leading the NCAA in softball with 58 stolen bases. How will she impact that series against Liberty's defense?
I mean, yeah, if you can get someone on base that can get around without anyone having to hit the ball, that's huge, to get runners in scoring position without trying super hard. So that would be big, but as long as she can get on base, she can get around.
Who wins this series and in how many games?
I'm going with Liberty in 3.
Ooh, Liberty in 3. All right, we'll move on to Oklahoma and Alabama here. That's the number 2 seed, Oklahoma, 15 being Alabama. Can the Sooners, looking for that 5-peat, can they overcome any potential weaknesses in their pitching staff and maintain their offensive dominance?
It is possible. Oklahoma, I didn't get to watch them a whole lot this weekend, but I'm pretty sure they dominated pretty well. But, I mean, Alabama is one of those teams that can find a way, They've done it last year. They've done it in previous years. They know how to win. They know how to get to the Women's College World Series, but it's hard to get out of there when you're in Oklahoma and around all those fans at left field.
Yeah, absolutely. How will Alabama's pitching strategy adapt to counter that high-powered offense of the Sooners?
I don't know how they'll do that, is my honest answer. Oklahoma has hitters who hit, and if they're down early, they're not out. They can come back in late innings. If they have an out, they have a chance.
I love that. I'll just be honest with you. I do not know because that is a well-oiled machine over there for Oklahoma. All right, so who wins this series and how many games will it take? I do believe that Alabama did beat Oklahoma early on in the season, right?
They did. I think Oklahoma will win in all 3.
Oklahoma.
I think they'll have to go to the 3rd.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, that's a shining light. I will take a little positivity there. All right. Florida versus Georgia. That's a big one for this area. How will Florida's pitching, particularly with the availability of Keegan Rothrock, hold up against that strong opponent in the surging Bulldogs?
I think they'll be able to get it done. She's a great pitcher, and they have a great staff. Georgia, I told you guys last week Georgia was making it out of that regional. But Georgia has good hitters. They have an incredible defense. Their pitching isn't super outstanding to me, so I think Florida will really take advantage of that. But I think Georgia will be able to hit some. I just think Florida is the more offensive team here.
Will Georgia's recent momentum help carry over into these super regionals against that Florida squad?
It could. It very well could, but I think Florida ends up taking it all there. They're also a team that has done this multiple times, and they know how to win in Oklahoma City and get there.
Who wins this series, and how many games will it take?
I'm going Florida in 2.
Ooh, Florida with the sweep. All right, moving on to one that means the most to you. The Arkansas Razorbacks, the 4 seed here against Ole Miss. Now, first, are you going to be going to this series, this Super Regional?
I will not. I have a wedding on Saturday. If I can find a way to sneak up there, I absolutely will. But no, I will not be there.
You should just get you a cardboard cutout and leave it at the wedding, dress it up all snazzy.
Now that's an idea.
Can the Razorbacks, known for their offensive firepower, translate their regular season success into a super regional victory to move on to the Women's College World Series?
I think they can. Like I said earlier, right now is the time to be hot, and both of these teams are hot right now. Ole Miss just took 2 from Arizona in a very tough road stadium and a very tough Arizona team. But watching that regional, pitching really did not stand out to me. The pitching was just not great on either team. It was more of an offensive game, which I think Arkansas will really take advantage of. Arkansas lost 2 to Ole Miss to start SEC play this season, and they took that third one, and, they beat them down. But neither of these teams are the same team as they were earlier this season. Arkansas hasn't lost a series since the week after that. And Ole Miss, like I said, has been on fire. So these are 2 really hot teams that are going at it. But at the end of it, I think Arkansas's pitching prevails, and their offense just dominates Ole Miss's pitching.
For Ole Miss, can their lineup capitalize on any weaknesses in the pitching staff for the Razorbacks?
Well, Lexi Brady, their catcher, she has been on fire. She's such a good hitter. She's a great catcher, too. But her hitting has been great. She hit a home run or 2 over the weekend. And she's just someone that the Arkansas pitching staff should fear.
All right. Who wins this Super Regional? How many games will it take?
I'm going to go Arkansas in 2.
All right, another sweep right there, this time for the Razorbacks. Then we'll go to your most intriguing series. That's Florida State, number 5 seed, going up against the Red Raiders, who are the 12 seed. How will Florida State's dominant offense, which outscored their regional opponents 22-1, fare against Kennedy's elite pitching?
I think that matchup against Kennedy is going to be so tough for Florida State hitters. It's been so tough for everyone in the country that has seen her all season long. They're just really, she's an insane pitcher. So I think if Kennedy's pitching, Florida State might not have that offensive power. I hope they're watching a ton of film on her to prepare. But this game actually starts tonight, and I'm really excited to see what happens here.
Is this the only one going on tonight?
No, there's another one tonight. It is Clemson and Texas.
Ooh, Clemson and Texas. That'll be fun, and we'll be talking about that next. Can Texas text Nigeri Kennedy? She's the first $1 million NIL pitcher. Will the stage be too big for her in this moment?
I don't think it'll be too big for her, but I think and not to knock on anyone else on the team, but I think it could be too big for everybody else. Kennedy's been here before. She's been to Oklahoma City before. She has that confidence and the experience, and she's just really good. But not a whole lot of others stand out on that team. So other than her, I think it's going to be difficult for them to get out of Florida State.
Who wins this series? How many games will it take?
I think Florida State wins in 3.
Ooh, FSU in 3. You're listening to ESPN Northwest Florida. We've got Sydney Fields on the line with us. She covers the Hogs for Sport and Story at Hogs Plus. You can go give all of those pages a follow on Twitter. That's Sydney Fields. And you can also follow Sport and Story on Twitter. Just type that in and Hogs Plus. Number 6, Texas taking on number 11, Clemson. Can Texas leverage its home field advantage and experience to overcome the momentum from Clemson and their regional victory?
I think they can. I was wrong about Texas, it turns out. They made it out of that regional.
Hey, you were right about LSU, and that's all that matters right now.
And Georgia.
And Georgia, yeah.
But I think they can get out of this out of the Super Regional. Clemson is a really good team, but Texas, like you said, they have that experience. They've been there. They have a coach who is really seasoned, and they have that home field.
And I just want to remind all of us here on the show and all the listeners, all three of us actually did pretty good in our picks. We all had 3 losses, but we had kind of differing losses. I'd have to look at our brackets again real quick to see. But all of us, we had a couple of flyers. Most of us missed Arizona, and that was where I had my upset coming out of with Grand Canyon of all teams, who did not have the greatest of showings, but they did better than what I did. Clemson, though, back to Texas and Clemson. Will Clemson's pitching staff be able to contain Texas's powerful lineup? And they've been pretty good throughout this season.
They have been good, but I don't think so. I think offense is going to win it for Texas. They have a great pitcher, Texas does, but they have a couple great pitchers, but I think their offense is what takes over here. Texas
sweep here, or are we looking at 3 games?
I'll say we'll go 3 games, and Texas
All right,
will win.
Texas in a 3. So, these should be some... You said FSU in 3, right?
Yes.
Yeah, FSU in 3, Texas in 3. If this goes according to Sydney's predictions here, we're going to be in for some great softball games throughout the weekend heading into Memorial Day. Number 7, Tennessee taking on Nebraska. Can Carlin Pickens and the Lady Vols pitching keep them in contention against Nebraska?
I don't think so. I think Nebraska is too hot right now. They had a pretty simple weekend to get out of Baton Rouge. They went undefeated there, and so did Tennessee, but Nebraska's they're a team that you do not want to see right now. They're so hot. Jordy is doing so well, and their lineup is also doing really well, but it's going to be really hard for Tennessee to have success against Jordy and the offense that also includes Jordy over the weekend. But Carlin Pickens has done an incredible job. She was named SEC Pitcher of the Week. She's facing the Big Ten Pitcher of the Week, or of the Year, sorry. And I just think she's not going to have she won't have enough offense to back her up.
All right. Will Nebraska's defense be able to withstand Tennessee's aggressive base running and them getting hits at the right time?
Yeah, that base running is really good, but I think Nebraska's got it.
All right, so Nebraska wins. How many games will this series take?
I'll go 3 games.
Ooh, another full set there. And then last but not least, the 8 versus the 9 seed, that's South Carolina versus UCLA. How's South Carolina, with that lineup that they have that's very talented, perform against a tough opponent here in UCLA in the Super Regionals?
Oh, man, this UCLA-South Carolina Super is going to be a really good one to watch. South Carolina is so young, and their coaching staff is brand new, first year. What we're seeing from them is something I personally have never seen before. But UCLA is also UCLA. I mean, they live in Oklahoma City in May and June. They've won the titles. They've had the success there. And South Carolina, this is only their 3rd Super Regional ever. So I think UCLA is going to get out of this in advance.
Is UCLA's recent dominance, including run rule victories in their regionals, a sign that they're peaking at the right time for a deep postseason run?
Yeah, I think it could be. I mean, this is what they do. They succeed at this time of year, which is all that matters in the grand scheme of things. So I think they can do it. But South Carolina isn't one to just brush off. They're a really gritty team, and they are aggressive on the bases. The most aggressive team that I've watched this season on the bases.
And that's always fun.
Yeah, they'll make you make errors. They'll make you question what comes next. But I think UCLA just has too much experience.
Who wins this series, this Super Regional?
I'm going to go UCLA in 2.
UCLA with the sweep. Now, when you're coaching your young ladies up over there, are y'all aggressive on the base pass? Because that was my favorite part of baseball, was being aggressive.
Yeah, when they actually listen to me and take the signs that I'm giving them.
What age group you got?
I've got 14U.
Oh, man, yeah, so they're at the perfect time to not be listening to authority, right?
Yeah, they tell me they get scared. But whatever. Sometimes they listen, sometimes they don't. When they listen, it usually works.
There you go. Sherry wants to know, Sydney, do you think Bree Ellis will get a pitch from Ole Miss?
She might get a pitch from Ole Miss tomorrow. So the interesting thing that's been going on is Bree Ellis hasn't been on her A game, but they're still not pitching to her. So they're putting her on base, and they're pitching to everybody else who is on fire right now. So pitching staff's listening to this, don't walk her.
Don't walk her. All right, who's the best team left here in the in your mind in the Super Regionals, and who is the worst team?
Oklahoma keeps proving me every single time that they're the best team. When they were playing Arkansas in the SEC tournament and Arkansas started off so hot, I was like, man, this Arkansas team is the best team in the country right now. And then Oklahoma proved me wrong and came back and won. So I'll say Oklahoma is the best team. And then the worst team in this Super Regional, I got to say Oregon.
Ooh, okay. So then that's good maybe fortune, I guess, for Liberty, since they're going up against the worst team, according to Sydney Fields here in the Super Regional. So, yeah, really excited. I love talking softball with you. It gets me amped up to watch these games. Got to watch a good amount of it on Saturday, not as much on Sunday. I was so surprised with when Texas A&M won the game on Sunday against Liberty. They won 14-11. I was like, all right, well, it was a fun story thinking about Liberty getting past Texas A&M, but that looks to be all but over. And then they ended up winning the second game. So, I mean, a lot of mental fortitude there for the Liberty Flame. Really?
Yeah, that was just crazy.
Yeah.
Our Arkansas game ended up starting so late, and I was just keeping up with the scores throughout, and I was just like, no way.
Well, enjoy your game tonight, Coach and Sid, in the doubleheader. Hopefully y'all score over 15, so my bet will cash in your doubleheaders tonight. And then also enjoy your wedding and enjoy all of the great softball. Not your wedding, but the wedding you're going to. You know.
Yeah.
All right, Sydney Fields, ladies and gentlemen. Sid, have a great day.
You too.
All right, you're riding with the Afternoon Underdogs. This is ESPN Northwest Florida. We're going to take a quick timeout. When we get back, I'm going to go over an Athletic Pulse poll. We're going to go in our call-in question of the day, and then also some news surrounding the world of college football, dealing with the 2025 college football playoff.
ESPN Northwest Florida.
The Atlanta Braves play here.
The Atlanta Braves made it to 500 and gaining ground in the East.
Ozzie to Allen, Allen to first, and that's a double play for the win.
Tonight, the Bravos look to batter the struggling Washington Nationals. We'll have live play-by-play coming up at 5:45 from National Park, right here on your home for the Braves on the Gulf Coast.
ESPN Northwest Florida.
Good afternoon. This is Joanna with your weather forecast from ESPN Northwest Florida on this Thursday. Partly sunny the remainder of the day with a wind at 11 miles per hour coming out of the south-southwest and 84. Tonight, look for a gentle breeze and clear skies with a temperature near 74. Tomorrow, a high around 85 and sunshine with a wind 5 to 10 miles per hour. Saturday, hot with a high of 86 and sunshine. This weather forecast is brought to you by Ellis Agency Insurance. Thank you for keeping that dial at ESPN Northwest Florida. Rely on it.
Dust off your boots and get ready for some action. Let 'em Buck Productions presents the Vortex Spring 6th Annual Rodeo. This Friday and Saturday night starting at 7. Tickets are just $15. Buckaroos under 5 are free. Witness thrilling rodeo events sanctioned by the Professional Cowboy Association. We'll see you at the 6th Annual Vortex Spring Rodeo. Vortex Spring, 1517 Vortex Spring Lane in Ponce de Leon. For more information, call 850-258-8471.
MLB is incoming, and you won't miss a game. Introducing Scorpion TV. Over 5,000 live streaming channels. Catch every game of the season with over 100 sports networks, including ESPN, ESPN Plus, the NFL Network, and Red Zone. Even pay-per-view events. Watch 400 local network channels from Panama City and most major markets. Fox, ABC, CBS, and NBC. Just $45 a month with our promo code ESPNNW. Go to ESPNPC.com and click the Scorpion TV logo.
Now, we're live and local inside the CBC Construction Studios. Now back to the Afternoon Underdogs.
But I wonder how much time he really kind of put into the playbook.
Where it's halftime all the time.
He may be the cream of this crop of quarterbacks.
The Afternoon Underdogs.
Well, they got to do something here, but otherwise this is just going to be another lost season.
ESPN Northwest Florida.
Welcome back into the Doghouse. Brought to you by CBC Construction. Go to CBC Construction or give them a call at 850-747-3815. I'm David Hayes along with James Fife. We're the Afternoon Underdogs, and this is ESPN Northwest Florida. Braves coming up tonight at 5:45. A.J. Smith-Shawver on the bump for the Braves going up against Trevor Williams for the Nationals. Last night's game was rained out, so the Braves will be taking on the Nationals back in Washington for a doubleheader on September 16th. Weather looks good right now, so that game should be going on. Want to take this time to remind you guys about the 4th annual Pops Pig Pick and Barbecue. All proceeds will go to benefit hurricane relief efforts spearheaded by Chef Ross. Dinner tickets are going to be $20. You're going to get the whole hog. We're going to have barbecue pork out there. We're going to have baked beans, coleslaw, Texas toast, all the good fixings. Pool tournament is starting at 1 p.m. Tickets for that or your spot in that will cost $15, and all of this is in honor of Chef Ross's dad, Ron Pops Robinson. This will be Saturday, June 14th from 12 to 6 p.m. at the Break Room, which is located at 2727 Joan Avenue. Don't forget to give us a call or text on the Red 7 T's phone line. Our texting question of the day: what buzzer beater do you think of when that subject comes up? All right. I've got a little list of that, so we'll dive into some of the buzzer beaters here in this segment if we have time. But first, out of college football, it is official. The top 4 seeds are going to be getting the bye. It's not just the highest, the top 4 highest ranked conference champions. Now it's just however the committee votes the top 4, those are going to be the teams that are getting the bye. The 5 highest conference champions will still get their guaranteed playoff spot. So last year, instead of it looking like who number 1 was Oregon, then who had the bye? Was it Georgia at that point? And then you had Arizona State and Boise State, I believe, were your top 4 seeds last year. It would have been Oregon, Georgia, Texas, and Penn State. The group agreed also to maintain the $8 million financial commitment to the 4 highest ranked conference champions, $4 million for reaching the playoff, and then $4 million for reaching the quarterfinals. College football playoffs management committee, and this was a unanimous vote too, so even the ACC, everyone got behind this, and I think that it bodes the best if we're basing this off of last year for the Big Ten, right? They had the most teams in the playoffs, so they would have had multiple teams last year they would have had Oregon and Penn State with byes, and then the SEC would have had 2 as well, so I guess that would be a tie between the Big Ten and the SEC. The College Football Playoffs Management Committee has been contemplating changing changing the seating for this fall for months, but they're also looking at what's going to be happening in 2026 and beyond. Are we going to be looking at 14 teams? Or are we going to be looking at 16 teams? So we will wait and see what the future looks like, but we know the immediate future of 2025 and what that is going to be looking like. Also, James, I don't know if we had you on when the owners officially said that the NFL can have their players play in flag football for Team USA. Are you excited about that, or is it a non-starter for you? More excited about the regular season than.
Oh,
and
way
this
more
is like,
excited
what,
about
3
the
years
regular
away
season.
before we even get to witness this?
Oh, yeah, it's 2028,
Yeah.
so yeah, it'll be 3 years. July, of course, that's, when you have the Summer Olympics.
Right.
I'm going to watch because it's the Olympics, it's an event we should do fairly well in. Do I really care if NFL players are in it? No, I don't care at all. It's not NFL football, so why would I want to watch NFL players play in a sport that they haven't trained their whole lives to play?
I think their names obviously bring a lot to it, but I think it would be unique. No other country is going to have, maybe Canada.
Then you'd be surprised what Mexico can throw out.
Are they going to? No. I'm not talking about them being able to field good teams. I'm saying who from Mexico is in the NFL?
There's a couple guys.
Right, but are they?
It's not a whole lot.
Right, that's kind of what I'm getting at, is you're going to have a few countries that might have one or two NFL participants. Then you're going to have the NFL or the USA, which is going to essentially represent the National Football League. So it is one of those where maybe they should make a rule where you only get, and they're not going to do it for this one, but if we ever do see flag football in the Olympics again, which I would imagine it would be good enough to continue on, maybe they only have one or two. You can only have up to two NFL players. I think it would be really cool to see our NFL players playing either against or with, not in the Olympics, but let's see some exhibition games between our flag football team as it stands today versus the would-be flag football team of the Team NFL, or of the Team USA with NFL players.
Oh, you'll never see that.
No, of course not.
You will never see that.
Of course
because
not.
the NFL will not allow that, because if the NFL loses that game, that will make them look so awful that Roger Goodell won't even consider something like that.
Exactly. I agree 100% with you. It would be fun for that. But the Athletic Pulse, which is a fun newsletter, is for free. You can go to The Athletic and sign up for it. But I get this every morning, and yesterday they gave you a couple of options for each position. This is kind of looking at it like you would have a quarterback, a running back, and 3 wide receivers. And I also look at it as you get 10 men on a roster, 5 men on the field at one time. So, of course, they're going to have some defensive players. But if we were playing Iron Man, I would want my quarterback to be able to play a little safety in that situation as well. So, how the Athletic Pulse readers voted on this: quarterback Lamar Jackson, he led all vote getters. You also had Patrick Mahomes at 18.6% and Josh Allen at 15.9%. And again, we have to think about these things, right? 3 years, the NFL's not going to look the same.
You coach flag football.
Yeah.
How often is the quarterback allowed to just tuck it and run? Because to me, saying you want Lamar Jackson or Patrick Mahomes, that doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me, because I don't think you can just cut out and run with a quarterback every play in flag football, can you?
It depends on the rules. I don't think there's anywhere you could just run as the quarterback. You know, you'd have to hand it off to get across the line of scrimmage. I'm not sure how NFL flag, we played a few games NFL flag, but most of those were one-time games where we weren't playing those same rules on a everyday basis. So I didn't really focus on those as much as just kind of like, let's play the game that we're playing right now, you know? But my thing is if, like, I'm sure that you get so many rushes a game, right? Or so many rushes a quarter or a half or whatever it may be. I want someone with mobility back there who can get away from the rush, and it's not just going to be a sit and duck. You know what I mean? So that's why I want someone shifty.
Okay. Because to me, I've not watched any flag football, so I'm not real super familiar with the rules.
And, if we have time, we can look into some rules one of these days. Saquon Barkley is the lead vote getter for the running back position, and he won by 1 vote, which is wild. He's going to be 31 for the Olympic Games, so we'll see how that plays out. And the guy who was close to him was Jahmyr Gibbs, who got 37.9% of the vote, and then Bijan Robinson got 15.4%. There's also a write-in candidate area here for the quarterback position. It was Jaden Daniels, which I think is a phenomenal pick right there. I haven't even thought about him and how good he would be in the flag football game of flag football. And then the best write-in candidate for running back is Ashton Genty. So someone also wrote in Thanasis Antetokounmpo, which is Giannis's brother. I guess that would be a pretty tall running back right there. Saquon Barkley would probably be, I would go with Jahmyr Gibbs, but it would be Bama bias that I'm going with Jahmyr Gibbs. Also, age, though, Saquon will be 31 at that point in time, which isn't too terribly old. But
it's not awful, but it's a game of total speed. Not, you're not running through the guy in front of you like you're doing in an NFL game. You're trying to go around them, right?
Yeah, you're trying to go around them.
Yeah, so you'll probably want somebody a little younger, more spry to get around. Ashton Genty sounds good, but, we got 3 years till then. There's probably going to be some other running back that pops up in the NFL that we'll be talking about by then.
For wide receivers, it was Justin sorry, I just computed what you said. Who's the wide receiver? Why am I blanking on his name? Out of Ohio State, the young gun. Oh, my gosh, that is going to. That is driving me crazy right now. Jeremiah Smith. Is that it? Maybe that. I don't know. That's the first one that came up there. But I think it is Jeremiah Smith. Now I'm overthinking everything because that can't be him. But he is 19 years old. So, it is Jeremiah Smith. All right, moving on here as we're talking about the flag football team for Team USA. They've got Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase, and Amon-Ra St. Brown. Do you get any better than that, wide receiver wise?
No, that's a pretty good little crew to throw out there. That's a elite group.
Malik Neighbors is someone who I would probably throw up in there, maybe overtake Amon-Ra St. Brown but you need a speedy guy to kind of be your slot receiver. Other leading vote getters for wide receiver, Brian Thomas at 18.7% and Drake London at 10.7%. And then the best write-in candidate was Tyreek Hill, but Tyreek Hill will be 34 years old when the Olympics come. Our trivia question for today: only one player in Major League Baseball history has hit a grand slam from both sides of the plate in the same game. Name him. Only one player in MLB history has hit a grand slam from both sides of the plate in the same game. Can you name him? That'll be good for a 12-pack of Buffalo Rock, $25 to Not The But That Boot Store, and I'll throw in a $10 gift certificate to Golf Plus. 850-215-6290. Call the Red 7T's phone line. Only one player in MLB history has hit a grand slam from both sides of the plate in the same game. James, do you have an idea who that answer is?
No, I actually had to go look this one up because I didn't have a clue, really.
So you do know the answer now, though.
It was from the time period I thought it was going to be from.
Right.
But yeah, didn't know.
All right. Well, we've got 3 more minutes here, so let's go over some of the top buzzer beaters according to our listeners. That's our call-in question of the day. You can also text in your answer to 850-215-6290. Christopher Multicante says, if it's not the shot, then you aren't old enough to have an opinion. Also, Western Conference Finals 98. John Stockton has just sent the Utah Jazz to the NBA Finals, in quotes right there. The shot is one that made the list that I compiled. Obviously, that was number 1 on the list, and that was Jordan in, was that 89, I believe, over Craig Elo. So one of the most iconic shots in all of NBA history. Barrett Townsend's going with Kobe against the Suns. That also is on the list there, and that is, what year was that? I believe that was maybe 2006 in the first round, Game 4. Kobe had a few of them on the list that I was looking at earlier this afternoon. Scott Price, January 15th, 1988. Steve Griaka hit a three-quarter court shot at the buzzer to allow Corey High School to beat Northwestern High School. He said you guys probably heard about it before. I've never heard of that, Scott, but hey, that is one of your favorite buzzer beaters. I'm here for it. Ohio Brad said getting that McDonald's breakfast order in at 10:29. That is the best one to this point. Ethan Hewitt going Christian Laettner in the NCAA title game. Kawhi Leonard beating the 76ers. That's the one for me. Ray Allen in Game 6 for the Miami Heat. And then Derek Fisher in 2004 for the Spurs with that quick turnaround. And then Mario Chalmers, oh, man, over Memphis when he was playing for Kansas. That was one of the most memorable title games for me watching as a fan. But the list from ESPN, they had a top 10 buzzer beaters of all time. Jordan over Byron Russell in the 97 finals in Game 1. You had Kobe for the win after a jump ball in 2006 in the Western Conference first round Game 4. LeBron in the 2009 Eastern Conference Finals Game 2 against the Magic. That was number 8. Jerry West had a half-court heave in the 1970 NBA Finals in Game 3. They went on to win that. Derek Fisher, we just talked about that. That was in the 2004 West Semis. Just turned around and gave it just a little flick of the wrist to win there. John Stockton versus the Rockets over Charles Barkley, might I add. That was in 1997 in the Western Conference Finals Game 6. Robert Horry, how about the rebound bouncing out to him? He takes the shot, beats the Kings in the 2002 Western Conference Finals Game 4. Then you had Kawhi with the bouncer in 2019 in Game 7 of the Eastern Conference Finals, and the Raptors go on to win their first championship. Dame had a couple of them in 2014 and 2019 in the first round, and then again, the shot in 1989 in the first round of the Eastern Conference playoffs in Game 5. That will probably be the most memorable buzzer beater of all time. You guys are riding with the Afternoon Underdogs. Coming up next, we're going to be talking some golf with the owner of Golf Plus, Alan Watson.
The ride home just got more dangerous. 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida is your spot for the Afternoon Underdogs.
One of the more underrated, fast as lightning. You know that he's got perseverance.
Weekdays 4 to 6 live from the CBC Construction Studio. Reactions, rants, and your calls at 850-215-6290. The Afternoon Underdogs are live and local. Weekdays on ESPN Northwest Florida.
Good afternoon. This is Joanna with your weather forecast from ESPN Northwest Florida on this Thursday. Partly sunny the remainder of the day with a wind at 11 miles per hour coming out of the south-southwest and 84. Tonight, look for a gentle breeze and clear skies with a temperature near 74. Tomorrow, a high around 85 and sunshine with a wind 5 to 10 miles per hour. Saturday, hot with a high of 86 and sunshine. This weather forecast is brought to you by Ellis Agency Insurance. Thank you for keeping that dial at ESPN Northwest Florida. Rely on it.
Pier Park, get ready to shake things up. Paradise Nutrition is now open. Craving flavor and fitness? We've got you covered. Loaded teas, protein-packed shakes, gourmet coffees, and refreshing drinks. From our signature Jimmy Buffett tea to Reese's Shake, Paradise Nutrition has over 600 flavor combos. Need energy? Appetite control? We've got add-ons like boba, biotin, collagen, and probiotics. Plus, try our donut whole shot appetite suppressant. Paradise Nutrition, Pier Park, next to Target.
WGSX Lynn Haven, WFLQ Port St. John. Powered by Panama City Toyota, ESPN Northwest Florida.
Whether you're an experienced investor or first-time buyer, Beach House will provide you with top-notch service to guide you through every step of the process. We make the real estate process fun and easy through effective marketing, strategic advertising, and always a client-focused experience. From single-family homes to full-scale developments, Beach House Sales Development has you covered. Check them out at beachhousesalesfl.com or give them a call at 850-919-3500.
You found us inside the CBC Construction Studios. For everything in the world of golf, it's the Watson Report. Thursdays at 4:20 with Alan Watson from Golf Plus. ESPN Northwest Florida.
Welcome back to hour number 2. You're in the Doghouse riding with the Afternoon Underdogs. I'm David Hayes along with James Fife. We're live and local from the CBC Construction Studios. Go to cbcconstruction.com as they are looking for a few good men. Also want to remind you guys to stand up to cancer, and Panama City Comedy will be helping you guys do that at Gary's Oyster Shack tomorrow night for hilarious comedy, delicious food, and a great cause. All proceeds will go to benefit Ryan Mulvey, which is the host here of the Inside Drive, May 23rd. That's tomorrow night at 7 p.m., Gary's Oyster Shack. For tickets, go to PanamaCityComedy.com. They do a great job. We've had some guests here on the Inside Drive representing Panama City Comedy and doing shows for them. One of those guys being Sam Miller, which I've started to see a lot more on social media after having him in the studio with us. A funny guy and a great story as well. But you guys are listening to ESPN Northwest Florida. We're going to get over to the Red 7Ts phone line as we have Alan Watson, owner of Golf Plus, on the line with us over there. Alan, how are you today on this Thursday afternoon?
Yeah, doing great today, guys. How are y'all?
Doing well, man. Beautiful weather out there, and it's perfect golf weather, but it's a shame I'm stuck in here in the studio. But it's not a shame that I'm sitting here talking golf with you, my friend.
Right. Yeah, it is definitely nice golf weather out there for sure. But, yeah, the Bills got to get paid first, right?
Absolutely. So how would you rate the 2025 PGA Championship at Quail Hollow compared to some of the recent majors that we've had?
Yeah, so what's interesting about this major is I think back to when Tiger won the first Masters. I believe it was the first Masters that he won, or maybe it was second, but, he's won like 5. But he said, I've never won a tournament with my A game the whole way. This was the closest I've ever come to literally playing my A game on every shot, every hole, every round. And so he wasn't bragging. That's just, he was that good. And Scotty Scheffler did not even have his B game. He probably had like his C plus B minus game this week, and he still won convincingly, So it's kind of interesting when you look at a guy like Scheffler. Sometimes he's dominant and just laps the field. Other times he is good enough. This was one of those times. He's never lost in a 54-hole lead. When he's had a 54-hole lead, he's like 8 for 8. The guy's just really, really good. So even when he didn't have his A stuff, he won, similar to Tiger Woods. So that's really my takeaway from it. There were moments where guys like John Rahm had a chance. There were moments where a couple of other guys had a chance, but they just couldn't put it together. It was a tough golf course. The conditions, especially in the rough, were pretty nasty, and the golf course had a lot of bunkering that really got into play. In fact, if you watch the final round, Scotty Scheffler's playing partner, I'm blanking on his name all of a sudden, but anyway, he was in like 80 bunkers. I've never seen somebody get in so many bunkers in a golf course, especially a professional,
Right.
So, interesting golf course. And one other really quick takeaway, the ratings were actually down for this major compared to the year before. And I think we're seeing that as a trend in golf in general, that TV ratings are just down. But, Scheffler continues to be dominant. This is his third major. He's on his way to the career Grand Slam. He's in super high elite status in terms of winning 3 majors super early, like Tiger did, like Jack did. So, that's the big takeaways from the week.
Is Scotty Scheffler entering a Tiger-like run after dominating the first half here of 2025, or should we hold our horses?
We should probably hold our horses just because it's sports, but if anybody has ever had a chance to be Tiger-like since Tiger was Tiger, it's Scotty Scheffler. We wanted everybody in golf wanted it to be Rory. It was not Rory, even though he has been dominant and he does have the career Grand Slam, and that's amazing. But he's not winning at the clip that Scotty's winning at. He's not winning at a clip that is where you just think every time he tees up the ball he could win. Scotty's like that. Scheffler is just one of those guys where you just better not bet against him because you're wasting your time if you do. So he's this is pretty impressive.
Alan, what would you say is the biggest threat to Scotty's hot streak heading into the summer majors?
The only thing that can stop him is himself, right? If he gets injured or if he finally hits a slump. Most professional athletes, and especially professional golfers, have a 2 to 3 year span where they play their absolute best at their sport. Most people can't sustain it for 10 years or 15 years. I mean, the great ones can play great for 20 years, but never to the level that they did at those 2 or 3 hot years. And Scheffler's on that run right now. He's kind of towards the end of a 3-year hot run. So maybe he can, if he's truly a legendary golfer, and he might be, then this will continue. But if he's like a lot of professional athletes, his sort of hot streak could come to an end in the next few months to a year max, and then we might just see him sort of level out. But I gotta think he's going to be one of those guys that 20, 30 years from now we're talking about, like the way we talk about Hogan and Snead and Nicklaus and Watson and Tiger, and he's going to be one of those legendary names. It's just when you're watching it happen and the guy's not even 30 years old yet, you don't want to crown a king, right? You don't want to crown a champion. You don't want to say he's going to be the greatest. But honestly, he's going to be in that conversation, and he's going to be a Hall of Famer. Like, he's already a Hall of Famer. He's not even 30 yet. So it's kind of crazy.
Who surprised you the most at the PGA Championship? Maybe an underrated player, or just someone who you weren't expecting them to go as low as what they did, and yet here they are.
Well, again, I'm blanking on the name of the guy that was playing. It was Noren, right? That was playing with Scheffler in the final round. So he would be the surprise guy. But my bigger takeaway surprise was not a bad player, or not necessarily a bad player, a lower-ranked player that did well. My biggest takeaway was how bad Xander Schauffele played. He's one of the top players in the game. He should have played better, and he looked like a goat with muscular dystrophy out there. It was awful. So that was what really bugged me. There were definitely 3 or 4 other, and like Max Homa is another guy who's trying to kind of get back to where he used to be, and he played good for a little while, but then he couldn't sustain it. So, but Homa was good. I was excited for him.
In all other sports, you kind of start to know when it's time to hang it up, but golf feels a little bit different. Can you speak to that at all? Like, with golf, it feels like you could play this game for forever at a high level, and obviously that's not the case. But why do you think that? How tough is it? This is how we'll ask the question. How tough is it for these athletes to get back to where they used to be in the sport of golf?
Well, I mean, to kind of take the first part of your question, Phil Mickelson winning the PGA Championship at 50 years old 2 years ago, I think it was, proves that it's not just a young man's sport. However, it definitely, for the longevity of it, you can't sustain the way you played when you were in your mid to late 20s and early 30s forever, right? To your other point. I think the only thing that really stops these guys from being competitive as they get older is they get frustrated with the fact that they aren't competitive anymore. You get a guy like a Jack Nicklaus who won so many times, and as he aged up, it wasn't fun anymore when he wasn't able to win. If you don't have the skills to win anymore, and you can't compete, and you've been a high-level athlete, then you've taken the challenge away, and now you've made it basically an impossibility. And so that's why, even if Tiger was healthy, he wouldn't play a ton of golf because he's just not there anymore. Mickelson took the easy road out. We all know it, going to the LIV Tour, because his only alternative was to go play the Champions Tour. And, that's just not that exciting for him. He wants to be able to beat the young guys. He wants to be able to show that he's still relevant in the game, and beating up on a bunch of geriatrics didn't really feel like that to him. Now, whether he ever does that or not, we don't know, because with the rules right now, he can't. But it's going to be a shame if 5, 6, 7 years from now, LIV is gone, which I think it probably will be, and then if Mickelson has nowhere to go play, that would be sad for the game. But I hope I kind of answered your question. I know I went in several different directions, but that was a great question, and there's a lot of relevance to that in the sport of golf.
Well, the question went a multitude of different directions, and so when the question goes that way, the answer, a great answer, goes that way as well. You're listening to ESPN Northwest Florida. Alan Watson on the line with us. Who's your all-time favorite golfer, and how do you think they would fare in today's game of golf?
Yeah, the guy that I grew up watching that always really inspired me was Davis Love III. I mean, he was just the classiest guy. He always had the nicest clothes. His swing was just absolutely picture perfect. And he was never, like, you never saw him get angry. Maybe you did, but I don't remember it. And the guy was just amazing. And his game today would hold up, especially with modern equipment. If he could shave 25 years off of his age, then he could go out and compete against these guys because he had the game, he had the links. He was a long driver, and he hit long irons that were just impressive, and he could putt pretty well too. I mean, he had one of those good careers. He never really won the majors that he should have, but he just had an incredible career. And another guy kind of like that, Freddie Couples, but now he did put the green jacket on, and he did have an amazing career. Back injuries slowed him down. Otherwise, he would have had a longer career. But, yeah, I think talent is talent, and I don't think that changes from era to era. What changes is the equipment.
Yeah. And
so that's why when you see guys hitting the ball as far as Bryson DeChambeau does, and then you go, well, Hogan never hit it that far. Yeah, well, Hogan was hitting a piece of crap ball with a, junk shaft and, whatever. Like, it wasn't like that. The stuff we have now is amazing,
Yeah, that's a good point. AG texted and he says he patterned his routine off of Davis Love III as well. But yeah, I remember my first time hitting a golf club was what is it called? Is it persimmon? The woods?
Persimmon, yeah.
Yeah, I remember the first time I ever hit a golf club was off of Persimmon Woods, and I remember the first time that my dad got a driver given to him on his birthday by his brother, my uncle, and I remember hitting that club and being like, wow, this is a totally different ball game right here.
Yeah, Davis Love was the last player on tour to switch from wood to metal.
Wow.
And he was still being able to compete with the guys distance-wise, but back then the metal was terrible. So, I mean, it was different. Today's golf clubs are almost like cheating.
All right, here's another two-part question for you, Alan. Who has the smoothest swing in golf today and the ugliest one that still gets results?
So Freddie Couples has the best swing in golf. He has the smoothest, most fluid, most beautiful swing. I'm going to say John Daly has the ugliest swing. It's not that it's that ugly. It's just that it's not the kind of swing you would want to teach or show anyone because he overswings so far. He brings the club all the way past his shoulder. He can actually see the club head dip past his left shoulder. It's unbelievable. It's way too far. You would never teach anyone to play like that. But obviously he can still hit it really well. And he even admits that his swing is not something that people should copy or pattern themselves after. It's just unique. Now, a few years ago, there was a guy on tour who won the Tour Championship and won several other big events and shot 59 and all that. His name was Jim Furyk, and he had a very weird swing, kind of this goofy crossover move at the top. But he got results, and all that matters is when that club face hits impact, is it square and is it moving towards the target? That's all that matters. How you get there, it can look as goofy or as silly as you want it to look. Now, I don't recommend that, but, not everybody's swing is going to look as good as Jordan Spieth's or Rory McIlroy's, and the results really matter a lot more than how you get there. But yeah, man, I tell you what, in my 30-plus years of working in the golf industry and seeing people play, I have seen some horrific things, and I lose sleep every night thinking about other people's swings.
I got the Freddy Krueger nightmare swing of them all. But give the golf swing expression, yanking the chain. I heard that from Sergio Garcia. What does it mean, and how would that help us when we talk about yanking the chain?
Well, I've never heard him say that, but I remember years ago, and I want to say, I don't know if it was Furyk or who. Somebody used to talk about pulling a rope like it was attached to a bell tower way up high in like a church or something. And you can imagine this bell that's way up high and 50-foot rope, and it's going to hang straight down, of course, right? And so at the top, you reach up to that rope and you kind of pull your arms straight down, and that's what's going to pull that rope down. And so I assume that that's what he's referring to when he says yanking the chain. Basically, it's that initial move from the top. So I've taken the club all the way to the top, and now it's time for me to start the downswing, which is the only swing that matters because that's the one where we hit the ball. And, yeah, that first move cannot be to the side. It can't be out. It needs to be almost like a dead straight down move as I pull my hands back down and let gravity sort of take over as it moves the club down. So it's just about sometimes you'll hear people say getting in the slot, which just means finding that place where that club path is correct. And so that initial move is that straight down hand move that would look like pulling a rope or pulling a chain.
Yeah, that definitely makes sense. I've got a little video over here that I'm watching of Sergio talking about that. Well, I'm not hearing him talk about it. Hearing him give an seeing him give an example of that, and you explained that very well. And then, Alan, we're going out a little early today, so I'm keeping this segment a little bit shorter this afternoon. Go ahead and give us the product that we are loving at Golf Plus.
Well, the product that I'm loving right now is this new Anthem series from Ping. It's a series of USA-themed red, white, and blue, beautiful headwear, head covers, and a bag that we just got in just in time for Memorial Day and 4th of July. Absolutely stunning. You know, if you really are wanting to kind of class up your look on the golf course and have maybe some fresh covers or a new hat for your head, or if you need a new golf bag, absolutely beautiful. We just got these in, and I'm super excited about it because we don't get a lot of USA. I mean, we do get a decent amount of USA-themed stuff, but I'm sorry, that was my dryer going nuts. But anyway, if you could hear that, I know you thought it was somebody had scored a goal in the Dallas game, but that's not what it was.
Another goal in Dallas. Yeah. But yeah, that's the stuff I'm loving right now. It's this new Anthem series, USA themed product. There you go. Y'all get on down to Golf Plus right over there off of R. Jackson in the shops at Edgewater, right next door to Firefly and 1 right off of Montgomery Highway up in Dothan, Alabama. Hey, Alan, thanks so much for your time. As always, it was very informative and fun, and we appreciate you, my friend.
All right, thanks. Appreciate you guys. We'll talk to you soon.
That's Alan Watson, owner of Golf Plus. Man, if you have not been to Golf Plus and you play the game of golf, or even if you play once or twice a year, just go check it out. If you know someone in your life that is a golfer, this is the time to go check out Golf Plus. They're an amazing facility, and they will do their best in whatever they can. If it's putting together a golf set for you, if it's fitting golf clubs, accessories. He told you about the swag. It's Memorial Day, so go get red, white, and blued out over there at Golf Plus. This is the Afternoon Underdogs on ESPN Northwest Florida. Quick SEC tournament update, and then Sam Peebles when we get back.
Your attention, please. ESPN Northwest Florida reminds you it's the law. It's the law. When there's a double red flag, stay out of the water, stick your toes in the sand, grab a cold drink, and listen to live sports.
Swung on, miss, strike 3.
At 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
Double play!
Good evening. This is Joanna on ESPN Northwest Florida with your weather forecast on this Thursday. Clear tonight with a gentle breeze around 8 miles per hour out of the west and temps near 71. Tomorrow morning, we will have sunshine and a wind speed of 6 miles per hour and be quite warm at 84. Sunny in the afternoon and evening and a high 86 with a moderate breeze. Sunshine Saturday with a temp of 86. This forecast is sponsored by Mid-South Lumber, the best little lumber yard in Panama City. Thank you for keeping that dial at ESPN Northwest Florida. Rely on it.
Northwest Florida Wrestling presents live professional wrestling at the Possum Palace. Saturday, June 7th in Wausau. Exciting men's and women's wrestling with a huge 20-man Royal Rumble. Doors open at 4. Matches start at 5 at the Possum Palace. Front row tickets $15. General admission $12. Kids 5 and under free. All proceeds go to medical expenses for Chase Henson. We'll sell you the whole seat, but you'll only need the air.
Your biggest investment is your home. Protect it while also improving its appearance with Earthworks of Northwest Florida. We have sand, mulch, gravel, or lay-down decorative stone, all available for pickup and delivery. Discover your dream landscape with Earthworks of Northwest Florida. Imagine the moment you proudly pull up to your home that you've worked so hard for, enhanced by quality mulch, decorative stones, and more. Let's make it happen today. Request a quote online at earthworkspc.com or swing by the office at 2005 Industrial Drive. Love the land you live on.
The fight for the 2025 season is on, and every win brings Braves country a little closer.
And the 1-2 pitch. And he is toast. Swung on and missed. Chris Sale starting out sharp again.
Tonight, the Braves close out their road swing with one final game in our nation's capital as they square up against the Washington Nationals.
Braves taking on the Nationals after the Afternoon Underdogs. First pitch, 5:45. Your home for the Braves on the Gulf Coast, ESPN Northwest Florida.
Now, we're live and local inside the CBC Construction Studios. Pound the like and crush the subscribe. Follow us on social media for the latest sports news, scores, and updates. Keeping you in the game. Now back to the Afternoon Underdogs, ESPN Northwest Florida.
Yeah, buddy, we are your home for the Atlanta Braves on the Gulf Coast, live from the CBC Construction Studios. You can call or text us on the Red 7T phone line. I'm David Hayes along with James Fife. This is our final segment of the afternoon before we're going to get you out there to the Atlanta Braves taking on the Nationals. Braves baseball on ESPN Northwest Florida, brought to you locally by Best Way Portable Buildings, Reliable Hydraulic Solutions, Mid-South Lumber, and by Brock Pest Control. And now let's get over to the Red 7T phone line. Earlier this morning, this is actually a recorded segment. Earlier this morning, I caught up with Sam Peebles as he was unable to do it live. So this is from about 1:30 this afternoon. Enjoy. We've got Sam Peebles on the line with us. Sam is the host and creator of the Braves Dugout podcast. Sam, how you doing on this Thursday afternoon?
Doing great. Thanks for having me again.
Absolutely. Great to have you on with us, man. I'll tell you, it was a little bit of a downer last night having the Atlanta Braves rained out, not being able to watch any Braves baseball. I don't know how much I would have been able to watch last night with the Pacers and the Knicks series getting underway for the Eastern Conference Finals. You get an opportunity to see any of those highlights from the game last night?
Yeah, I mean, I saw that it was crazy buzzer beater, and then they came back from behind and win, so that was pretty cool.
Yeah, man, there was like 2 minutes and 45 seconds left. Pacers down by 14, and teams in that position are 0-994 going into last night. So they did the unthinkable, and now teams are 994-1. But Sam, we got you on talking Atlanta Braves with us per usual. Thanks so much again for your time. The Braves sitting back at 500. Give me, over the last week since we last talked to you, something that's been positive and something that's been negative.
Well, I'll start with the negative first. It's that the offense still is not doing well. They're currently in I think they're ranked 22nd in runs scored this month, and over the past few weeks it hasn't been any better. The good thing is, though, that they're still winning games. They're still, since that 0-7 start, they're still on pace to win. If you take out that 0-7 start and just look at the remaining games, they're still on pace to win like 91 or 92 games in that stretch. So they definitely have a shot to do well, and that's because of the pitching overall. The rotation has been extremely underrated. They've been the fifth best rotation in terms of ERA for the month of May, and the bullpen has been top 11. So, I mean, as a pitching as a whole has been great for the Braves, and they've kept them afloat. That was even without Spencer Strider, healthy Spencer Strider. So once the offense gets going, which I think it will, I think the Braves will be in a good spot to at least make a playoff spot.
You know, speaking of Spencer Strider, his second start of the year after coming back from the hamstring injury, 4 1/3, 6 hits, 4 earned runs, 3 strikeouts, and a walk. What did you see from his second start here in 2025?
It's going to seem a bit of a cliche answer, but I do think he just didn't look like he was ready quite yet. I think they rushed him up, which I don't blame them. Fans have been waiting for Spencer Strider for a long time, and I'm sure Spencer Strider wanted to get out there. But it doesn't go without saying that Spencer Strider himself felt real bad about it. He even made a statement about how he knows that Bryce Elder, who has been doing decent this year, got sent down so that he could start, and then he didn't perform. And so, yeah, I mean, it's really sad for everyone involved, but over time, I think he'll be just fine.
You're listening to ESPN Northwest Florida. We got Sam Peebles on the line with us. He's the host and the creator of the Braves Dugout podcast. Latest episode just dropped, so make sure that you go get that wherever you get your podcast and subscribe to his channel as well. Mark DeRosa and Brian Kenny have been talking on MLB Network a little bit more, resurfacing, reopening the wound for some Braves fans who don't stand pat in the Braves' decision about the Braves should not have let Freddie Freeman walk in free agency and then go on to sign Matt Olson. So my thoughts or my question to you is, are the Braves still ruining the day that they let Freddie Freeman walk away, or is Matt Olson a great or good replacement for Freddie Freeman?
All right, so first off, of course, anyone would love to have Freddie Freeman. He has been easily the best first baseman over the past 5 years, and it's not even close. It's him and then everybody else. That's clear. But for people that say, oh, well, all they needed to do was pay him an extra $30 million or whatever, first, that's an assumption. Second, the reason the Dodgers were able to get Freddie Freeman for the price that they did is because the two main suitors for Freddie Freeman were the Dodgers and the Braves. From an economic standpoint, once the Braves signed Matt Olson, of course the Dodgers dropped their offer. Why wouldn't they? They'd be stupid to leave with the same offer. So Freddie Freeman likely was promised more money than he actually got at the time, and the Braves didn't want to pay that. And if they would have paid that, they wouldn't have been able to sign some of the other players that they signed and brought in that have helped the Braves be somewhat successful over the past few years. They would have been just as hamstringed, if not more hamstringed. Or hamstrung, however you want to say it. So I want to say that, of course, I miss Freddie Freeman, and of course I would have loved for him to be a Brave, but I just don't want people to pretend like there's this, it's like Matt Olson is terrible because he's not Freddie Freeman. If you look over the past 5 years since Matt Olson has been on the team, Matt Olson has been the second best first baseman in Major League Baseball. It's not like you replace the the best first baseman in baseball with a guy that's like, maybe a top 5 first baseman every once in a while. No, Matt Olson has been easily the second best first baseman in Major League Baseball. Let's not forget he set the single season home run record for the history of Atlanta Braves, a team that had Hank Aaron. Matt Olson set the single season record for home runs. Wow. Matt Olson has also been one of the top first basemen in Major League Baseball in terms of defense as well. He's super slow on the base pass, but when you factor in his defense and offense, he's been the second best. It's been the second best second baseman. And if you want to say, oh, well, it's been a huge drop off, I don't know, man. Going from first place to second place, I don't think that's a huge drop off to me. If you're saying it's a huge drop off, then you're just trying to change the parameters to fit some weird narrative that you're mad at the Braves. I don't know.
Yeah, and for me, I think one of the drop-offs, if you will, would be the leadership. And I'm not saying that Matt Olson isn't a leadership. It's just Freddie Freeman ran the Braves clubhouse and was the Atlanta Braves to the fandom. But that's not to say that Matt Olson can't grow into that. And when we're talking about the drop-off as a baseball player, I don't consider there to be much of a huge drop-off, I mean, you get a lot of power. There's differences in Matt Olson and Freddie Freeman, and one is going to be your consistent on base and still comes with power, and then Matt Olson really utilizes the power to a larger extent. I would say that's the bigger part of his game, whereas Freddie Freeman's just kind of all around there. And I could be wrong about that according to the numbers there. But for me as a Braves fan, I wish that this didn't continue. It's obviously going to be a conversation year in and year out, really, through the duration of Matt Olson and Freddie Freeman playing in the league simultaneously. Or maybe that dies off in a couple of years. But I don't think that the Braves are hurting from it right now. The biggest issue, I think, is that we're dealing with injuries and getting people in the right spots. And then, it's baseball. It's a long season. And to still be at 500 the way that this season has started, I think that we're in a pretty good position to at least make the playoffs, right?
Right, and I think Chipper Jones actually said something that really stuck with me over the past day or two. Is he said, Ronald Acuna's coming back, Spencer Strider's coming back. The National League East had a chance to bury the Braves, and they didn't do it. And so the Braves have stuck around, and they're about to get a heck of a lot better. So, the Braves are going to be fine.
Yeah, we're going to have to clip this and send it up there to MLB Network for Mark DeRosa and Brian Kenny. So you got two Braves fans right here, DeRosa and Kenny, that we have no issue at all. We are not missing Freddie, and we wish him well over there in Los Angeles. Sam, who's been the most pleasant surprise for the Braves to this point?
Easily Nick Allen. Not only did, he's not the best hitter in the world. He's the number 9 hitter and should stay hitting number 9. But he came with, I thought it was just a depth move. He was there on waivers and the Braves picked him up. But here he is, one of the best defenders in Major League Baseball. And he's got a bat that's better than Orlando Arcias was. So, it's been awesome. He's been a huge get for the Braves. I don't know what they saw in him and how they were able to determine that he was their guy, but they did it, and he's been a huge surprise for me.
Which Atlanta Braves, Sam Peebles, is due to get hot from the plate? They've been having a little rough stretch, but it is time for them to get hot.
If you look at the first thing I like to look at whenever I look at things like this to get a high-level view is you have what's called weighted on-base average. It's very similar to OPS, but it gets a little bit more specific. And the easiest way you can tell if a player is about to take off is you can look at their weighted on-base average versus their expected weighted on-base average. And the biggest gap is Michael Harris. So that tells me that Michael Harris is about to, if he continues to swing the bat like he currently is, over time you're going to start seeing a lot more production.
There you go. Really looking forward to seeing Michael Harris. And he's came up in some big spots this year as well, including some game winners. So would love to see our center fielder catch fire. All right, let's dive into the rest of Major League Baseball right here. Got a few questions for you. The Blue Jays, they just hung 14 on the Padres last night. Good for the 5th loss in a row for the Padres. Is Toronto and the Blue Jays right now the biggest Jekyll and Hyde team in Major League Baseball?
I would not disagree with you on that. They don't have. I can't figure them out. I guess I can put it that way. I can't figure them out. So to me, that would be Jekyll and Hyde type thing. I don't know if they're really good, if they're really bad. I would, look at the roster and say they err more on the bad side. But putting up 14 runs, that's impressive. They show that they've got the mental space to be able to do things when they need to, and that division is one that they can catch up in. You've got the Yankees, and it's pretty much everyone else, and the Yankees aren't even as good as a lot of people thought they would be, so who knows?
Yeah, and the Twins right there with their, they have a 13-game winning streak that ended on Sunday. Do you consider them Jekyll and Hyde, or do you consider them to be more good than they are bad?
I think they've been more lucky than they have been good, but that being said, I'd rather be lucky than good a lot of times,
Hey,
that's
nothing
just
wrong
the way
with that.
it is. Yeah, I don't want to quote that as if it's my quote, but I can't remember who said it, but it stuck with me for years. I'd rather be lucky than good, and that, let the luck happen, and if it continues, it continues, and if not, not. But I don't think the Twins will continue this torrid pace for very long.
Yeah, there you go. I'm trying to find out who said it's better to be lucky than good, but I don't think anyone is attributed with that quote. How about a little start bench cut here? Bobby Witt Jr., Ellie De La Cruz, or Gunnar Henderson? If you were to start one, bench one, cut one, how would that situation play out?
That's a really fun question, because if I was to rank those 3 shortstops, it'd be different than my answer of start, cut, bench, because I would rank them Bobby Witt, Gunnar Henderson, Ellie De La Cruz. However, if I had to cut one, I don't really need Gunnar Henderson if I have Bobby Witt Jr. But what I could use is that speed that Ellie De La Cruz has. So I would want to bench him so I could use him in a role player type situation.
You're listening to ESPN Northwest Florida. We're on the line right now with Sam Peebles. Yeah, that's for me. I think I would start. I would start Bobby Witt Jr., bench Ellie De La Cruz, and then cut Gunnar Henderson. But I like what was yours again? One more time.
No, mine was the same as yours.
Okay, all right, then we're on the same page.
Yeah, Yeah, but if I were to rank them as far as who's the better overall player, I'd put Ellie number 3. That's not to say that he's not a top shortstop in the league, but that's how I'd rank him.
Yeah, wild statistic kind of going along with that. Ellie De La Cruz has stuck out 425 times, and I believe Tony Gwynn's was like 434 or 438 in his entire career. I mean, that also just goes to show how great it was 434 for Tony Gwynn. It goes to show how good Tony Gwynn was and just how different the games, the batters approach the plate these days. And really, is it about the long ball or is it about the launch angle? Why is it that we're striking out so much across the league now?
It's because pitchers have gotten so good that most players cannot do what Tony Gwynn did. So why would you try?
Yeah.
You know what you can do, though? You can get a home run every once in a while. And so it's better to take a chance. It's kind of like in basketball, as you've seen over the years have gone. I guess I should say NBA, how you're seeing more and more three-pointers being shot. It's just simply math, right? Sure, you don't have to make as many three-pointers as you do two-pointers, but over a longer period of time, you score more points. So even with a lower shot percentage, you're still scoring more points. And the same thing with baseball. You're not getting as many hits, but the hits you are getting are more effective, and it results in more runs because you can't expect your team to get 14 hits a game against the type of pitching you're seeing today.
And who would be your dream home run derby lineup this year? If you got to pick, go ahead.
This is probably going to be my most boring answer I've ever had being on the show, but this is just how I like it. I want to see the top 8 home run hitters that season. I don't care who they are. I want the top 8, and I want them to duke it out. So whoever's the top 8 home run hitters at that time, that's who I want to see.
All right.
And by top 8, I mean
statistically.
Statistically, yep.
Yeah, I like that, and that could be a way that they do it going forward. I wonder how many of the top 8 would opt out of that just because they didn't want to mess with their swing, but maybe that should just be a prerequisite. Like if you don't want to play or participate in the home run derby, then don't hit home runs in the first half of the season, or at least not good enough for top 8. Maybe that would also help guys, getting the ball down and playing a different brand of baseball, which, by the way, I was watching. It was Texas A&M, no, South Carolina and Florida the other day in the SEC tournament for baseball, and they opened the game up with a bunt, and I was like, oh my goodness, that's nostalgic right there. That takes me back.
Oh yeah.
Contender or pretender here, got a few teams for you, 4 of them to be exact. Orioles, still elite, or are they about to crash back to earth? Contender or pretender for the Orioles?
I'll say this year they've dug themselves too much of a hole to come back, so I'll say pretender. I think the talent is there once it gets fixed. I don't think it was on the manager. Poor move to fire Hyde, but I do think if they can get some more pitching this offseason, then they'll be good again.
The Milwaukee Brewers, are they a real threat in the NL, or did they just get hot early?
They just got hot early. I don't think they're a true contender. Not in that division, not in the National League.
And the Philadelphia Phillies, one of our nemesis in the NL East, are they built to win in October, or are they just benefiting from a weak division start?
I think that they are built very well for the regular season, and it's showing. One thing that they may struggle with, though, is unless they can pick up some bullpen arms at the trade deadline, they may struggle when it comes to the postseason. The one thing that's good for them, though, is guys like Wheeler can go deep into games, and so they don't really have to depend on their bullpen as much as some other teams do. But they're absolutely a legitimate contender. In fact, I think they're a better team than the Mets are.
I like that, and I agree with that as well. And the Mets have been getting really lucky to an extent with all the injuries that they have for their pitching staff, yet they've got one of the best rotations in baseball right now. I got a question pertaining to PEDs. Which suspension hurts their team worse? Is it the Phillies with Jose Alvarado missing 80 games in the postseason, or the Braves with Jerks and Profar missing 80 games and the postseason?
Oh, that is a tough one because, the Braves issue has been scoring runs, and then the Phillies issue has been the bullpen. So both hit really hard. But I'll go with the Phillies just simply because the Braves do have Ronald Acuna coming back, and their outfield is pretty deep, especially with Eli White coming in as a guy that they can really depend on. So I'm going to go with, since Jerks and Profar was slotted to play the outfield, I'm going to go with the Phillies. It's probably been tougher on them.
And then our final contender or pretender, the San Diego Padres. They've dropped 5 straight. Are they still a postseason threat, or is it time for them to think about retooling again?
No, I think they're still a good team. I do. I think they've had some poor luck. They're still a very good team on paper. They're still a very good team all around. I would not put them as like a World Series contender, but they're definitely in the tier that I would still put if I was a betting man, which I don't bet on sports. I just never really have. But if I was, I'd still put money on the Padres making the postseason.
All right, there you go. And then we will dive into a little buy or sell, all of these related around the Braves. You're listening to ESPN Northwest Florida. Sam Peebles on the line with us, host and creator of the Braves Dugout podcast, contributor for a writer for BatteryPower.com, also a contributor for us here weekly on ESPN Northwest Florida. Make sure you go subscribe to the Braves Dugout podcast. Buy or sell, Marcell Ozuna will lead the Braves in home runs again this year.
I think with Ronald Acuna coming back as late as he has and Matt Olson not hitting as many home runs this season as he has in the past, I think odds definitely favor that, so I'll say yes.
Buy or sell, the Braves bullpen is the most underrated part of the team.
I will say sell because I feel like the Braves rotation is getting a little bit more hate than they should. But the Braves pitching as a whole, I would definitely put a buy on that for sure.
All right, to buy or sell, A.J. Smith-Shawver is ready for a permanent rotation spot.
Buy. Now, he has had some luck in terms of batting average of balls in play luck, and his past 4 starts have been against pretty bad teams. But, I mean, man, the hitters are since he's come back from being brought back up, hitters are hitting less than 200 against him. He's got an ERA lower than 2. It's crazy. He's earned a spot, and if they send him down, I'll have some questions.
Buy or sell, Atlanta needs a bat at the deadline.
I'll sell on that. I don't really see the only thing that they really could do is get some depth, and they have the depth guys. It's just that the guys that they have just need to start performing. Now, would it be a luxury to get one? Sure, but I wouldn't call it a need.
And this last one will take us full circle as we were asking you earlier about the Braves player that is due to get hot. And you gave the answer, Michael Harris II. Buy or sell, Michael Harris II is the key to this team taking the next step offensively.
Without Ronald Acuna, yeah, absolutely buy. For sure.
All right, man. Well, but with Ronald Acuna Jr. though, is that going to be the straw that stirs the drink, offensively speaking?
I think so. I'll say yes on that.
Yeah, I think that we'd agree. I do agree with you. I hope that he can come back and be a force for us, and hopefully does not injure himself in a non-contact situation again. But Sam, as always, great to catch up with you, and looking forward to the game tonight between the Braves and the Nationals right here on ESPN Northwest Florida. Coverage starting at first pitch time of 5:45. It's going to be A.J. Smith-Shawver going up against Trevor Williams of the Washington Nationals. Hey, Sam, thanks so much for your time, and we'll catch up with you next week, my friend. All right, y'all, ladies and gentlemen, have a great day. Thanks so much for listening. Atlanta Braves coming up next. Jesus loves you, so do I.
Celebrating 2 years of broadcasting history.
I told you this would work.
It's the Best of Bay awarded Inside Drive on 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida. Weekdays 11 to 1 with Ryan Mulvey.
I love it.
Covering the biggest stories, breaking news, the